And we'll get started.
We are live.
All right. Welcome to how to market your airway practice on social media. So good to see everyone here. If you are just getting in, we'd love to just have you type in the chat like where you're coming in from. We have quite a few doctors joining us tonight. So just in the chat, make sure it says that you're going to send it to everyone in the meeting and just type where you're coming in from. We'd love to hear it.
Oh yeah, let's see if I can pull the chat over here. Perfect.
Okay, so we've got League City, Texas,
Oh,
Washington, D.C.
oh, I have some ASAP members too.
I love it.
Janelle has amazing Instagram profile.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got some of my coaching clients in here. Hi, Dr. Buckley. This is great. Walnut Creek. Amazing. So we're going to let people kind of trickle in for the next couple of minutes and then we're going to get started. We have a lot to cover tonight. Super excited to hear Dr. Tracy's story and we'll get cracking in a couple of minutes. Feel free to also just type your questions in the chat. I'll be taking a look at the chat. So anything that comes up for you, we'll make sure we have time at the end to answer all of your questions. Type in the chat if you're ready for fall. It is definitely turning to fall weather.
Yeah. I mean, like we were teaching a course this weekend and it really did not occur to me that we were in September.
Oh my gosh, I
Like
know.
I literally felt like it was April. I was like, we're in September. Holy crap, the year's almost over. It
I
was just
know.
like,
I saw Christmas decorations the other day and I was like, I am not ready for this.
mm, mm, mm.
Awesome. So we're basically at 5 after. If you want to kick us off, Tracy, we can get started.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, because people can pretty much like watch the recording. I put my Instagram on there, and my ASAP Instagram. After the lecture today, if you guys want to ask me any questions, just tag me on social media, message me. I'll try to get to them as much as I can. I'm one of those people with like 35,000 emails. So like I'll like look at it, I'll ignore it. Um, but thank you for having me, Allison. Gosh, we've had a really amazing journey together, and we still have an amazing journey. So many things that we want to do together, and I look forward to our future. But so, it's interesting because people ask me how I got started on social media, and I am not a social media guru at all. Basically, I started with a particular mission, and I use social media as my platform. And when I started to do that, surprisingly, I started to get noticed. And I think what it was just all the algorithms of social media and people searching for things. And I was just popping up. And my message resonated with a lot of people. And a lot of dentists reached out to me about their children, reached out to me about themselves. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey, and we'll kind of go from there. The biggest thing with social media, I find, let's see here if I can go next here. There we go. The power of social media. So I'm just going to highlight, just going to do a quick um, bullet points of social media. It's really all about branding. What is the message that you want to come across? Education, you have to educate. That's what you're using it for. And three, networking. So you use it for those three main purposes. The first thing is building your social media brand. I thought this was really interesting because when I started off, in 2000, I was pretty much a hardcore restorative doctor. I was accredited with the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. So my bread and butter was always cosmetic dentistry. And then I went a little bit further into my restorative training and I got educated at the Koi Center. I got into airway management right around 2015, 2016, when actually when my restorative practice went down because I went for fee for service. Now, this is an interesting story, is because like when I got accredited with the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, I was like, I am the bomb. I can do all this amazing restorative work and all of my patients will stay with me. And what happened was I dropped all insurances. And unfortunately, the big ego bust to me was I lost a lot of patients. And in 2015, I had my biggest hit. And so that was really hard for me. So I had to do some soul searching and like, okay, just because I had all of this education, I still wasn't good enough for people to stay with me. So I went further on in my journey. And when I got into airway management, the interesting thing is when I changed my philosophy into airway management, coming from a perspective of caring for patient care, caring for their entire family, my practice did basically a 360 and it has never dropped since 2015. And I definitely would accredit that to my current mission. And that's why you'll see a lot of talk about an airway practice. An airway practice and a restorative practice is the same practice. It was interesting because when I went on to this journey, I had a little bit of an identity crisis because people were like, well, are you a pediatric dentist? Are you an orthodontist? And I was like, no, guys, I'm still Tracy Wynn, the restorative doctor. I did not go into any crazy specialties. I just have it now with an airway hat. And airway management is for all ages. And pretty much when I started, it was pretty much right around 2015, 2016 when I met Jeff Rouse. And this is when he had his first workshop at Spear. And we met at one meeting. He's like, Tracy, I want you to mentor this group. And it was like, wow, this is the first airway workshop. And I was honored to be asked to mentor this group. So that is kind of where my journey has been. I took my education, went back home, and I said, I'm going to build a platform home. And then I took it even further. I said, you know what? I want to educate dentists so they can build a platform everywhere. So one of the missions in ASAP is we want to help you build your practice. We want to help you educate your patients and also educate your peers. So I love it when I have doctors messaging me of like their study club. And the most recent one is South Carolina. And so I got on a Zoom and I welcomed everyone. So one of our missions at ASAP is really just educating more dentists and helping you create your own team locally. And so, it kind of brings me back when I talk about airway management and what is it? And really, it's really about focusing about the why. And I think when I took it a step back about me, like I'm Tracy Wynn, the accredited dentist from American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. I have all this accreditation and you need to pay me for this. I took a step back and I was like, you know what? No, it's not about me. Let's get back to patient care. And what airway dentistry is about is really looking at the medical history and asking yourself, is there some kind of airway struggle? And if you see an airway struggle in that medical history, and that could happen at any age from birth to 70, 80 years old, you ask yourself in your treatment, you say, what I'm going to do in dentistry, am I going to make the airway positive, worse, or nothing at all? And that's the simplest thing about airway dentistry. So I'm not going to go too much about, airway dentistry because this is a social media discussion. So let's go back to social media. What ended up happening was one of the things you have to be in social media is vulnerable. You have to, it was funny because I took a while and be like, how much is too much sharing? Or my outfit's too skinny? Are they too small? Am I showing too much butt? Like, and then I was like, you know what? I don't really care. This is who I am. This is what I work out. And so I think if you want to do this, get real, show them what your hobbies are, show them what your interests are. And then you'll be really surprised because I'll get messages like, I love your dogs. I love your workouts. I get so many people talking to me about yoga because that's all I was doing during the pandemic when I lost my gym membership. Um, so so be vulnerable about who you are. What I ended up also doing is because once I developed this mission, I used to have two Facebook pages. And I actually, my personal one where with all my friends, and then my professional one. And then I realized it was too much, too hard to keep track of both. And then I said, two, I was like, you know what? I'm I don't really need to overshare, like, and I just need it's really my mission for social media is about awareness, talking to patients, talking about to my colleagues, and then just sharing things, slight things about my personal life. So I don't even use my personal page and I post it all on now it's my social media page. One of the things that people want to know, and I love this, is that it's like, who are you? What kind of doctor are you? What do you stand for? And, I make no apologies for dressing up, wearing fancy shoes, looking really nice, doing my hair, and the friends that I keep, I make no apologies for uplifting women and just really being a champion for dentists for everybody. It's funny because I'll have some of my male colleagues and be like, Tracy, you don't post anything about men. I was like, it's not that I don't think that you guys are very important in my life, but I recognize that for me growing up, me being who I am, I had to see people that look like me on the stage. And that empowered me to be somebody. And so I feel like part of my mission, my Airway mission, it's just more of like education, empowering people, uplifting people. One of the things, and actually, Allison, you showed me how to do is like that campsite bio. And there are many different programs where you can do that because as you start to speak, people want to know where you're speaking. And you can always link that in your social media. I started doing create your own hashtags. So it's funny because like when I was traveling a lot, I was like traveling dentist. So even when people see me, they're like, hey, you're the traveling dentist, create your own hashtag. And then people who like your message and they repeat your message, they'll use your own hashtags. So I thought that was fun. But it's amazing how like I just grew and I didn't even realize how quickly I grew. And people started messaging me on Facebook and how they recognized what was going on, recognized how vulnerable I was, just sharing and caring about like, and really just my goal has been more of like education to our peers and the public, and educating locally. I will want to say that people want to see who you are at work. So you show your personal side, however much you want to show, and then you want to show what are you like work? What's your team like? What do you do on a daily basis? Take some pictures of it. People want to see that. Um, and I'm still kind of learning how to use reels. People love listening to music. It's funny because when I first started posting on social media, and like I said, I am not a social media guru. It's been just very organic for me. People would send me, goes, Tracy, you need music. I was like, all right, I'm gonna find music. And I'll say that when I had a professional Instagram page, I couldn't use certain type of music. So I don't like to pay for a lot of things. So I like to have the apps and things that are free. So I actually went back to Instagram and I had more of a personal page. And then I put in like hits and things like that. Stories. The thing with stories is obviously they disappear and you want to always at least post a story like once a day, once every other day. That is going to be constant. Now, one thing I'm really not good at is my page having like an identity. I really still just post everything on there. But I guess if I decide that I want someone professional to kind of take it over, that's the first thing that they're going to attack is my main page. And I think there's definitely some importance to that. So, one of the things too that will build up your social media reputation is you really need to comment on forums. Now, this is where you're going to have to decide how involved do you want to be. And the more active you are, the more vocal you are, and the more you educate, that's how people are going to know you. You want to also grab local groups. So I have a lot of mommies groups, and I kind of go in there because mommies are always looking for like a dentist, something for their kids. So I obviously I'm in a lot of patient groups. I'm kind of like quietly in patient groups, almost like trolling just to see what kind of questions people are going to ask. So those are the questions that you're going to get when you go into your office. And I'm part of a lot of professional groups. So I think I think you have to have a really thick skin in these groups, because I will say that you're going to get some people that are not so friendly, and then you're going to have to just be like, okay, am I going to engage this or not engage this? I will say I probably engaged too much. Now I've kind of backed away a little bit. It's like, you got to pick your battles on which one you want to do. But your purpose on these forums really should be to educate and having a message. It really shouldn't be about, I'm better than you, I know more than you. It's more about education, like, oh, this is what I learned, and kind of talk about what you want to do. Another thing I do is I always tell people, it's like, if you want to learn more about it, because I'm not going into a page to promote myself. You don't want to do that, because you don't want to look like this person that just self promotes themselves on all these platforms. You just want to make a couple comments and say, for more information, my page is public. You can scroll my page, you can search my page, do whatever you want to my page, and just grab from page. You do want to every once in a while kind of comment that your page is not meant for medical advice and should be not taken as medical advice. Apparently, there's a lot of legal ramifications. Apparently, as a doctor, you can't make recommendations. But if I was Tracy, just the girl next door, I can say whatever I want. Unfortunately, that is the world we live in as professionals. Um, you want to create video content. So this is really interesting because I did iShot. Again, I don't want to pay for anything. There's so many different programs out there. And basically I'll just make a video. You can make a video of yourself with a black backdrop, education. You could put a bunch of things on there. Patients love video and education. And another thing too is you want to, like, I'll do something in the office. I'll go over a case. I'll treatment plan an entire case with the patient. And then I just do one that's just like, hey, this is me. Let's talk. For a while, I was doing like Tuesday talks with Tracy, so you make something up, just keep it consistent. And obviously, like, some months I post more than others, depending on my speaking schedule, but it's always nice to have something catchy, so whatever your name is, you can say like Fridays with Dr. Fadi, like just do anything that you want that makes it like super catchy, mouth breathing Mondays, anything that's fun. Cause it's like, oh, it's catchy. So I did like Tuesdays with Tracy, one of the things too is patients want to hear you. They want to see you. So what I do is I do a lot of literature reviews, and I also write blogs. And it's funny because my colleagues have been telling me to, Tracy, you need to write an article. You need to write an article. And I'm like, I don't have time to write an article. And then they're like, but you can post on blogs. And I was like, yeah, because it's just like whatever, and I'll do like, don't look at the spelling errors, but it's just real. It's like I'll just post an article. So one thing about me is I'm a huge literature buff. So hence I have time for that. I like doing that. Now, if you don't like doing that, you can, all of the stuff you can absolutely outsource to someone. You have to kind of decide what you want to do. I think what's made me where I am now is I've had the time for it, and it's very organic. So that's how people can have connected with me. Obviously, I think that the less they see you, the it's less organic. They can't connect with you. They need to see your face. And it really doesn't have to be very fancy. Like I said, I'm on iShot. You just see me in my jacket. It's funny. I told Allison, I said, most of the time, I'm not even wearing makeup. I'll throw on my glasses and just to give me somewhat like presentable. Um, And then sometimes I'll even interview other doctors, and they'll share it on their page. And it's some they're not that long, really. I think the attention span is like you really want to keep it under 10 minutes. I find that anytime I'm in the 30-minute span, people they shut it off. So you want to keep it short and sweet. Sometimes it's a minute, 15 minutes. Try not to go over 15 minutes. Remember, the attention span is like 9, 10 minutes. Keep it short, keep it sweet. And even when you're doing clinical tips, remember when you're talking to patients, keep it very simple. Think about your post-op instructions. You don't do a 30-minute post-op instructions. You probably do like a 1-minute post-op instruction. How amazing would it be if you had that recorded? Just like, hey, you just had a crown. What should you expect? That's like a quick 5-minute. That's like a quick 5-minute right there. Throw in your hashtags. All I got to look at is pain after my crown is cemented, and you'll show up. And it's really simple and it's easy. You don't have to overcomplicate it at all. One of the things I always say about like the ASAP advantage, and because I'm a huge literature person, is that I feel like to educate, you need to understand the literature. And, all of us are, we educate to our patients. So we're obviously not going to show them all the literature, but this is actually more for your colleagues. Every once in a while, I get patients that want to talk about the literature. So then I will do like a 10-minute blurb on social media just about what the literature says, but say it in a patient-friendly way. And again, like that's one of the things at ASAP that we do is we really want to help you develop. We want to make you an expert in your area and help you develop your own team. So we have so many modules for you to go through. I mean, gosh, I think we have over about 89 videos, 89 hours of videos that you can watch, and how to market your practice and case presentations. One of the things is that once you build your brand, you have to basically um, step it up now. Now it's like, okay, who are you? Why are you this way? How did you get there? So I do think it's really important for you to talk about who you are and your whys, and throw in dentistry. Now, you don't want to overcomplicate it. You don't want to show a lot of blood, because this is all patients, but you want to make it very simple. Toothache, you want toothbrush abrasion, anything, but you do want to post that. Now, when you're posting for your colleagues, then you dive in a little bit deeper with literature. So what my Facebook is, I sprinkle a little bit of everything in there. I definitely sprinkle a lot of literature reviews. The average patient will not understand it, but that's how I got a lot of dentists to follow me. It was interesting because then when I started doing this, I had study clubs asking me to come speak for them. They're like, hey, Tracy, I really like this content. Talk to me a little bit more about it. So remember that your population, your audience is, you got to be very simple for your patients, not too gruesome with blood and things like that for your patients. And then you can get scientifical, you can get detailed, and that's going to be for your colleagues. You have to decide what person you want to be and how vulnerable you want your page to be. I decided that I'm going to go public. I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to let everyone know who I am. I will say that it was been a learning experience for me, because like we all have a heart, and so when someone says something that hits you to the core and that affects your integrity, you take a step back. But you know what? It is what it is. I mean, they say that if people aren't talking about you, you're not relevant, right? So, and so I decided, you know what? It's all good. I'm going to keep on going because this is who I am now. One of the things that, after you build your brand, after you're able to support the education behind your brand, your next step is you got to make money from it. And how are you going to do that? You got to network. You got to bring in your patients. You got to bring other doctors. What do you want to do? At the end of the day, your social media page needs to bring you money. If it's not bringing you money, it's your private personal page. Okay. So 2 different goals. So the goal here is, when I did Airway management, I said, okay, who am I? Why am I relevant? I was like, okay, this is the current model right here. This is the current Airway sleep model. Sleep dentist, ENT, doctor. Dentist is not in there. Our goal, and I decided that, you know what I'm going to do with my page is I'm going to highlight the dental team. I'm going to go into all of these different, I'm going to go into the sleep journals. I'm going to go into the ENT journals. I'm going to go into all these journals and highlight something about dentistry. And that's actually how I got a lot of dentists attention. They're like, oh, I didn't know this was in the sleep journal. I didn't know this was in the ENT journal. And that's when my page became very scientific. Like I said, it's okay. You know, you've got different audiences. Some posts may not be for you, some posts is for this person. But again, your goal, your page, ultimately, you need to make money. You need to bring people to you. You either decide, do I want to speak? Do I want to speak more? So your page needs to be educational. Your page needs to go out to Seattle Study Club, Koi Center, Spear. It needs to grab those big organizations. And you can decide, hey, my patient needs more patience. Then you are going to post things that is going to be relevant in a different language to patients. You definitely want to have some form of community outreach. And this is where you go into these smaller mommy groups. This lady, she was on a mission. Now, this is a mom. Look how much she wrote about her journey trying to get help for her child. It was funny, like this page had 385,000 shares. And when this got shared, people Googled her and found out she was in my area. So I started getting all of these messages. It was like, Tracy, are you treating her? Are you treating her? Are you treating her? And I was like, not yet. And so I told my friends, like, hey, can you message her? I don't want to come across like, hey, I can help you with your kid. Just kind of throwing it out there. Hey, my page is public. If you ever need more information, I support your mission, your education, blah, blah. It's interesting because in her journey, she already had a dentist. And I was like, if you ever need any help, I can even talk to your dentist, guide your dentist, blah, blah. She actually reached out to me when she tried all these different treatments and her son wasn't getting any better. And so I saw her and, it's surprised I treat her and her family. And it's amazing what social media can do. And when you jump into these mommy groups, what people are looking for. I will say one thing about the mommy groups is they they can be very intense, and you don't want to offend. So I'm always just like, okay, here's a little plug, and if you need anything, kind of let me know. But I thought this was interesting because, like, basically, when this went out to all these people shared, I've got all these pings like, Tracy, are you treating her? Are you treating her? Are you treating her? And so that's been really amazing. And so now she posts her journey with me. And I think the key with your patients is ask, and we always hear this, ask for referrals, ask your patients to do a testimonial, ask the patient to do a testimonial, tag you, can you share it? So I think that's always important to share their message and their journey. So basically, your do's and your don'ts, your goal here is to build a relationship. You want to have a cause, want to build some awareness. Definitely post some literature content. Don't worry about it being too scientific. What's your mission? If you want to start speaking, if you want to start doing things on a different level, then your literature needs to support that. Definitely, as much as you can, do educational videos. I think that's really important for you, for your team, for patients, and people that might want to have you speak for them. You got to make the decision for yourself if you want it to be private or public. You're going to have to decide how much time you have for this. Obviously, like for me, when it became my mission to educate, I put a lot of time into it. It's like really like a full-time job. Now, I can definitely outsource it. Now it's interesting because I outsource like ASAP. We put in a lot of content. Allison's working with us on that. But my personal stuff, my personal page or public page, is really organic and it's really from me. And I decided, I was like, I still want to keep it that way. Like if I am kind of silent for a little bit, I'll just kind of come back. But if you're going to do this, I would suggest you go really hard for the first 6 months because you want to be visible right away, and then you could slow it back down. You do want to join a lot of groups and blogs, tag other leaders, because when you tag other leaders and they tag you, you're shown on their page. So that's quickly an easy way to get recognition. The don'ts, don't make it about you. It is, it's not about you. You definitely want to educate them about your credentials, but it's not about you. And don't be afraid about bad reviews. I mean, I had one really, it was funny because I lectured in Dallas and I had a really negative review on a forum that I wasn't involved in. And it just hit me so hard. It hit my integrity. It just brought me down. And then, but then I realized it's like, if I stop doing what I'm doing, like, what was my why? So you're going to have haters. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to have bad reviews, just like in your office. Don't worry about it. Stick to your mission, learn from it. Kind of be like, okay, like, what did they take from it? Should I change my message a little bit? Was I too harsh? There's nothing wrong with reviewing what you said and being apologetic for how you say it. So I'm going to kind of finish it with, what is airway dentistry? Where do we stand? This is a quick statement from the American Dental Association, and you have this recorded, so I'm not going to really belabor it because we have so much to go into. But basically, the ADA definitely supports our mission. Oops, I'm going to go back really quickly on that. The ADA definitely supports our mission to screen children with sleep disordered breathing signs. Amazing. We can look at the craniofacial risk factors. We need to learn how to refer. So it's all there. It's definitely in our wheelhouse. What airway dentistry is not. And this is one of the things that I try to post because it's all over the place right now. I do not claim that I can cure obstructive sleep apnea. I do not claim that I can prevent the need for orthodontics. I do not claim I'm treating the root cause because we really don't know what the root cause is. And I can say that now because I've done so many literature reviews. There's so many things we don't know. And because I've been educated in all these little programs, I know what everybody is saying. And I used to say those things. And it's funny. So now I say, if you're going to quote me, date me, because as I learn, I'm like, okay, I wasn't right about this. This is what I'm learning now. And I'll post that now. Like, this is what the literature said 2002. This is what I read. This is how I feel about now. It's not all about appliances. It's not all about expansion. While we do talk a lot about that, but one thing is very important. Airway dentistry is influenced by the anatomy. That is absolutely true. Now, how much it's influenced is the question. But one of the things I always say, and one of the things Jeff has always taught me is just do dentistry. And I usually break it down as in I look at the nose, upper jaw, lower jaw, and tongue. That is what I'm doing. And whatever I do in this house, how is that going to affect your breathing? So I'm going to end it with, I do not believe comprehensive dentistry causes airway problems. I do not think bicuspid extractions cause airway problems. I think there was always an airway problem, but we never did anything about it to make it better. I do think comprehensive dentistry changes function, or it influences function, and how the body functions after your dentistry is what causes the airway dysfunction. The issue is we don't know what it's doing. We don't know all the other disciplines. So it's funny, we talked a little bit about where ASAP is, and what we've decided to do this year is we have a lot of live courses. So this is all about adult expansion. If you want to take this course, this is basically in about 3 weeks, and it's all about adult expansion using mini TADs, making customized expanders. It is an amazing course if anybody's trying to jump into adult orthodontics. And it's funny. Someone says, I totally disagree. Extractions absolutely cause breathing issues. I'm going to save that for another issue because there's a reason why you extract. It's about the anatomy, and it's about where the bone was before the extractions. But that's a whole nother topic, and we can kind of get into that. I don't like to throw other colleagues under the bus. This is just how I kind of feel. But my opinion is this: it's very simple. Keep it simple. Just do dentistry. Look at what you do and don't make the airway worse. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, Tracy. So I'm going to be diving in a little bit deeper to like some specific social media strategies, tips, like tricks to help you guys really take what Tracy said and like implement it immediately. But in the meantime, please go ahead in the chat and just ask Tracy any questions as I'm getting my presentation up. Please like feel free to dig into any questions that you have, and we're going to keep going with some specific like social media tactics, growth strategies, and things like that. So that's where we're going next.
So I'll just do my stop share and then we can kind of just talk. Let's
Perfect.
see here.
And feel free to pull up any questions as you guys come along. Okay, so we're gonna just change gears a little bit from the perspective of um, myself, who has just been running social media campaigns, social media for dental practices, social media for education companies for the last 4 years. And really why today is such an important place to live on social media, especially as an airway dentist. So my name is Allison Crucier. As you guys may know, I got my start in dentistry as a dental assistant, became an orthodontic assistant, office manager, treatment coordinator, and now educate and lecture all over the world. And I actually met Dr. Tracy on social media. And so really the question is like, why social media and airway? Why is this such an important topic today? And the reason is, and Tracy spoke about it really beautifully with her patient that was online, is our millennial moms. So when we look at the data of who is on social media today, and I get access to some pretty large data groups to be able to kind of see from a dentist perspective what's happening on social media, our millennial moms are actively searching for answers, and they're finding it on Instagram. And so when we're talking about building our airway practice and when we're talking about making money on the investments that we're putting into our practice and we're educating our patients on what's possible, one of the best places to connect with that target audience is on social media. So we have run some studies just within our own groups of airway doctors that we've worked for and worked with, and we see the amount of shares that we have on small, short educational posts. Moms will see a post that resonates with either themselves, their friends, their child, and they will share it to hundreds of people. They will share it to all of their mom groups, like Tracy was saying. And so the goal for you as an airway doctor is to know how to do this and to know how to connect with those millennial moms so that they can find someone that has taken the education, that is credentialed, that has the experience to be able to support their children. And so when we really dive into that, we have to know social media. And so just type a Y in the chat if social media has been something that you've like literally wanted to smash your head on against your desk. It's been something that you're like, what is this? I don't understand. Just type a Y in the chat. It's okay to be honest in this group, but type a Y in the chat if social media has almost been something that has been as complex or as frustrating as even just your airway journey altogether. We're going to demystify a little bit of it today and help you guys really uncover some of the ways that we can make it easier. So, one of the most important things is to understand the platform. So, Instagram itself, we're going to kind of really dive into Instagram specifically because Instagram is the most visual and it's the most well attended for millennial moms, your target audience. And so we have to understand the features of the platform because part of your growth strategy is knowing how to utilize all the features. So Tracy mentioned her feed, she mentioned her story. Those are all of the things that you need to understand in order to be as effective as possible. So when you look at the create button, you can see that we have your main feed. This is where you stay educational, you stay informative. This would be where you'd want more posts that are maybe a little bit more professional, that kind of highlight specific things in your career as a business owner. Your story, like Tracy said, is where people connect with you. That's where people get to know you. I always like to say it's almost like pulling back the curtain on a person. and helping them understand who you are, what you care about, staying engaged, staying connected. This is where people get to know your personality. So, love the examples that Tracy brought forward of showing you in your clinic, showing you talking to patients. It's really, really important. And then your reels, of course, are the newest feature of Instagram. They are taking over the algorithm. If you're not posting reels, you're probably not growing right now as quickly as you could be. So, learning how to use the reels, learning how to post and make videos on reels is super important. So this is the question I get asked all the time as a lecturer for social media. Like, how do I grow? Okay, so fine. I set up my social media for my page. I'm not getting any engagement. I'm not connecting with anybody that I want to. I'm not growing my practice. How do I grow? And Tracy nailed it. And honestly, I could pretty much wrap up my lecture with what she said. It's you have to be authentic. You must be authentic. And we have seen so many marketing agencies come forward and say that they will template and curate and design. And you can use those posts for education, but unless you're showing up face to camera, talking to your camera, if you're not connecting with your audience, you will not create an engaged following group. So the growth strategies that we always talk about is post authentic content. That is number one. Post consistently and then utilize all the platform features. So those three things, if you can walk away from this webinar and be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is your strategy. Post yourself. You as a doctor, why does Airway matter to you? Why did you get started? What stories do you have to show that you have helped patients' lives? Show different scenarios that you're seeing in your practice so that people can resonate with that. Do it consistently and utilize all of the features, your story, your reels, and your feed. But again, the number one growth strategy, don't overthink it. It's being authentic. And I love that Tracy said she went all in. I think a lot of times we overthink this, especially my female doctors. I hear this all the time. Like, well, what do you mean? Like, how much do I share? I say, don't be unprofessional. Like, don't be straight up unprofessional where you're like maybe cursing and, doing things that you wouldn't want your patients to see. But you don't have to be completely professional. Now, when we look at, let's just call it the sales process, the patient deciding that you're their dentist, they're coming to you in the practice, it takes trust. And people get to know you and like you and trust you when they see you speak, when they see your facial expressions, when they see your mannerisms, when they hear your voice, and when you're showing up in a way that you become familiar to them. So consistently. It's the psychology of sales, it's like a psychology of trust, it's the psychology of love. So we have to show up. And I know this can be part of the hardest thing. So it's key for building trust. It's key for building relationships and it's key for growing your brand. You are a part of your brand, even when you have a beautiful logo, even when you have a beautiful practice, it increased that engagement, respect, and loyalty. So again, pro tips for staying authentic, post your failures and not just your success stories. Obviously, when you're posting your failures with your patients, like be discerning. You might not want to post all of your failures. You want to post your failures of like your personal self. Like I have a 5 a.m. routine. I didn't wake up this morning at 5 a.m. Like don't post your like this case didn't go according to plan because your patients again are building trust. Um, Unedited and unbranded content outperforms anything. We test this all the time. And if Tracy were to send us a video of her in the gym with her dogs, it will outperform everything that we ever create, no matter how beautifully designed it is. So again, show them the behind the scenes footage, the consistency, be honest. When I say don't fake it, I mean don't be someone you're not. It's really hard to perform that way long term. Showing up face to camera. So we call this the FTC model. It's showing up with the camera to your face. You're talking to your camera. Um, Show your team, show your practice. Literally, like imagine you pulled back a curtain on your practice and who you are. Show your values. People will want to work with people that have similar values to them. So you don't have to be like so PC that you're never showing like what matters to you, what doesn't. You can make a stand for things that really matter to you. So this is the second question that I get all the time. Allison, I am a dentist. I am busy. I have a family. I have a team. I'm running a company. How do I stay consistent? This is Rashid, who has been in a lot of my lectures on social media. She's going to know what I'm going to say next. And it is schedule your content. Schedule your content. If you have a busy practice and you don't have time to be posting every single day, schedule it. it's great to be there, like, in person and showing up on camera. Like, that is the best type of content. But let's be honest, that's not going to happen when you're full back to back patients all day and you're coming home to make dinner for your family. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, bulk create time. Have like a 2-hour block in your month and pull over content that you want to schedule so that when you're sitting with your patient knee to knee, you notice your Instagram is going off because the scheduled post has been posted. This one thing again will like save your life if you can schedule it. Now, there are different scheduling apps. Instagram now allows you to schedule from the platform. Amazing. You can use something like Later, Hootsuite, Planoly, all of these things that you can really kind of dig into to schedule for you. Facebook Meta schedules for you, but aim to post at least 2 times a week. And the good news is these scheduling platforms will web it out to all of them. So it'll go to LinkedIn, it'll go to Facebook, it'll go to Instagram. You can do it one shot. And let's go into some tips. So, again, like Tracy said, you're posting content and you're sending out your message to your audience. If they comment, if they have ask a question, if they come back and have a curious, like something they want to know about your page or one of your posts, respond back. The one thing that they want to know, especially your patients, they want to know that there's a person behind this brand. They want to know that there's a human being that's posting these things. Again, it builds the trust. So your work's not done when you post. You need to comment on and like content from your target audience as well. So I have a team that will literally go into the hashtag of a location and just start engaging with that location. So if you are in Charlotte, search the hashtag Charlotte and start engaging with the people that look like they could be your target audience, aka millennial moms. So look at like Charlotte weddings, Charlotte wedding photographer, Charlotte. So like I'm saying your location and these hashtags, and you can start to find the people that you want to connect with. So don't just wait for them to come to you. You can go and find them. And I know you might be like, oh my gosh, when in my life is this possible? Get a VA, get your team to do it. Like this is not something that you have to do. And then the other thing people ask me all the time is like, who do I follow? You follow the people that you want to follow you. So follow your target audience, follow people that are inspiring to you, follow other doctors that you want to learn and see their content. Intentionally follow them. Now, your captions. Instagram has changed its algorithm so that it's using more of an SEO model where it's reading your captions and then organizing your posts in what you're writing about. So if you are deciding that you are now officially an airway dentist, an pediatric airway dentist, type that in your captions often because what it will do, it will coordinate and organize your post so that people will see it that are interested in that type of content. Again, skip the dental language. We don't want to say like things that patients really won't understand. Posting the studies, I think is really a great example of showing credibility, showing trust. But for the most part, with your captions, don't go too dentally. You want to educate them on your offerings. Like we do this because of this. So we take care of pediatric airway because we want moms to X, Y, and Z. So always focus on the benefit to the patient. Every post is an opportunity to educate about your services, but you don't want it to be a constant sales pitch. Not at all. This is again educating them on what's possible, talking about the symptoms, talking about the things that you're supporting your patients with. And then again, you're building trust through authenticity. Now, there is a great debate going on social media. I don't know if you guys have been aware of this, but the question is to hashtag or not to hashtag. I'm gonna let you know right now, our Gen Zs don't think it's cool to hashtag anymore. It doesn't matter. They still matter. So I've done a lot of tests with my team across multiple platforms and we've tested not hashtagging and hashtags still win. So use between 3 and 15 hashtags and post on posts and reels. So make sure your account is public if this is your business page. Otherwise, the hashtag content you write won't be seen by any non-followers. So make sure it's public. Don't string too many words together. And then again, remember who is your target audience and what are they actually looking for with their hashtag. Do not use the hashtag dentist. Never use that. Don't use the hashtag Invisalign. Don't use the hashtag doctor. Why? Because they're way overused. You want to use specific hashtags like Charlotte pediatric dentist, Charlotte airway dentist, Charlotte pediatric airway dentist. These are less used hashtags, but the people that are looking for you will actually be able to find you if you use these. So really go and like take a look at your hashtags. Don't use more than 15. Make sure that they're really specifically location based. Don't use generic hashtags. And then geotags. So for your practice, one of the biggest mistakes practices make is they use their location in their geotag. You might be asking, why is that a mistake? That is my location. You want to be using specific towns, cities, and neighborhoods around your practice because the odds of a patient actually following your geotag is very low. What they will follow, though, is a geotag of where they live. So, again, if you're in Charlotte, look around the area of neighborhoods that you want your patients to come from and geotag that. So, that's on your regular post, your regular feed. You always add your location, but don't add your practice location. Add locations around your practice location. And then, as Tracy said, tag all of your strategic partners, all of the people that you're working with. You'll see that Tracy and I have been tagging back and forth each other as we're talking about getting ready for this webinar. It just helps expand your reach. So if you have somebody that delivers you cookies in your local area every day because you've helped their kiddo, tag them because what's going to happen is your post will go onto their page and all of their followers will see you. So always tag strategic partners, people that support your practice, your patients if they're willing, um, events, companies, local vendors, everything you can. You just web through Instagram and social media when you can tag appropriately. And your team members, get your team members to post onto their page and get all of their friends to follow your practice page. And then going live. This might seem super, super scary, but one of the best ways for people to get to know you, like you, trust you, is see you live on camera. And the cool thing about going live is as soon as you go live, all of your followers will get a DM. And so this is something I would save for if you're doing a special day, a special event, you're at a CE conference, you're learning something, you're with your whole team. That's a great opportunity to go live. You can invite guest speakers onto your page. You can encourage participation by asking, like, what questions do you have about airway and pediatric? What issues are you seeing with your kiddo? You can actually bring forward like almost a consultation live. Obviously, it's not a consultation. It's more of like a Q&A. But it's just about building that credibility, building that trust, building that awareness, and then save that video and repurpose it for later. And then this is something that as you kind of get more advanced, you can start to pin things to the top of your page. You can pin your reels. What my recommendation is, look at your page right now, see the most relevant or seen content and pin that to the top of your page because it will help people just like get to know you quicker. As Tracy said, people have a lot less attention span than they used to. And so they're not even scrolling down. They're looking at your general page. They're looking at your bio. They're looking at your main post. They're not even scrolling down unless you captivate them quickly. So the systems for success, use your team. Your team is there for you. I know at least one of you have one team member in your practice that is willing to take a photo, or if you're very lucky, maybe even do a TikTok dance, but you want to get your team involved. And what I say to team members all the time is if you see a special moment, we capture it. So don't let any special moments in your practice go uncaptured. That could be a mom thanking you for the life-changing work that you've done. It could be your team member walking an elderly patient to the car. It could be a parent hugging one of your team members. Capture these moments. Just capture them. And so use this as a mantra in your practice. Tell your team, guys, we're educating our parents online using social media. I need your help. Please go ahead and capture content that you see in the practice, share it in a shared drive, and we'll use that content together. As a doctor, you don't have to be the one that's capturing all the content. And your team will probably find perspectives that are even more fun than you can bring forward sometimes because they just have a different view of the practice. So make sure that you use them. We know that these small daily tasks shared will make it a lot easier for you. And when people ask me like, well, I don't really know what to post, I don't know how to post it. My question for them is like, what is making your practice special? And have like 4 buckets that you post consistently about. So if you have airway, pediatric, you have, Invisalign, you have expansion, whatever it is that really encompasses your practice, post consistently about those 4 things, and you'll never run out of things to talk about. Again, marketing is not about sharing a different message every day. It's about sharing a consistent message in different ways. So, looking ahead in your schedule, find the patients that you know are going to celebrate you, are going to be happy. Ask them for a review, ask them for a testimonial. Always plan to capture before and after shots. You can never go back and capture a before shot again. So, try to remember that. One thing I tell all my team members when we're at special events, when we're at lectures, is always be photo ready. I know you guys have probably experienced team members like, I'm not ready for a photo. I didn't do my hair and makeup today. We take photos at every single one of our team events to make sure that we can capture content. And then when you're asking people for that, like, will you be on my social? Make it about them. So, one of my favorite ways to say this is like, Tracy, we love having you in our practice. You totally make our day every time you come in. We want more patients like you. Please let us know if there's anyone else in your network that we can support. And then make it so that your team does this every single time. It's just part of your culture. Practice asking when you're in your practice at a team meeting next time, but make it about them and not you. So, with your team, again, it's a reasonable ask to ask them to support you. Do it with them, make it fun, stay up to date on trends so that it can be fun together, but definitely don't do this alone. So just know as we kind of wrap up tonight's webinar that Instagram specifically for Airway, educating your moms is non negotiable at this point. This is where they're finding their information. We opened a practice a few weeks ago. The practice wasn't even open yet, and we had patients signing up to be new patients because of what we were educating on their Instagram. Moms were coming forward and they were saying, I've not heard this messaging before. I need you to help my kiddo. It's so possible to connect very, very clearly and deeply with your moms that you want to support. Learn the platform. I know it can feel overwhelming, but it's going to be an investment. It's not going away. Instagram is here to stay. Social media is here to stay. So make sure you spend the time investing in learning the platform. Get your team to help you. You don't have to do this alone. Schedule out your content. That will save you so much time and energy. It will help you be consistent and just have fun with it. And so this is what good does not look like. This is what we see a lot when it comes to pages that are just stock images. And in fact, we'll see the same posts across different pages. This is just this is the Instagram of the past. The Instagram of the future, go and look at Dr. Tracy's page. It is organic, it's real, it's educational, it's informative, it's authentic. So we're here to support you if you want a brand makeover, if you guys need support with this. Again, you don't have to do it alone. With this webinar, we're hosting a special event where we're doing brand makeovers for $300 off. And so you're more than welcome to hop on a consult call with me, connect with me, just see if there's some way that we can support you in these next few weeks as you dive into this. So you
Allison, I
can,
have to say, like, your team is amazing. I'll give you guys a little bit of history. Like, me and Allison knew each other, and then it's like I quickly hired Allison, and then I was like, I want to try other companies, and Allison's like, yeah, like what we do with all our patients, you can go. I'm here if you ever need anything. And sure enough, I was like, Allison, take me back. I was like, I mean, like your team, the content, it's just been amazing. So I definitely I vouch for you. I mean, it's a great, you definitely know what you're doing.
thank you so much. And
Yeah.
we are especially passionate about airway dentistry because of you, because of how much we've learned within ASAP pathway and how we know, like, we feel good about running airway practices because we know it's supporting moms to find support. Like it really is. It makes huge difference. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna go
you're
ahead
one
and
of the very few that understands the content. I mean, because like my last one, oh my gosh, I was like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that. You know, and then of course it's a very you have to be safe because there's so, I mean, there's a $1 million lawsuit going on right now with airway dentistry. So you really have to be careful with your branding and your message. And so what, like my previous company was like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. Your company is, I mean, I haven't had once no, that's not good. If anything, I'm like, oh, you can add this, you can add that. I mean, your company is amazing.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. So we love, yeah, we love working with ASAP Pathway and just the difference that you're making. And so I know that you're offering a special promotion for this
Yes.
webinar for those that decided to join us.
Let me, I'm gonna post it really quickly because I think someone just showed it to me. So I'll just share my screen really quickly and you can hear my dogs in the background. It's too funny. Yeah. When I post stuff about my dogs, everybody wants to see it. So everybody knows my dogs. But yes, here it goes. So basically, you know, if I go back to what ASAP Pathway is, basically we're an online mentorship program. Oh, my dogs are going crazy. And basically, I started just like a lot of people started with a lot of company-based programs. And what I was missing, what me and my partners was missing, was we're missing mentorship, guidance, a place where we can be vulnerable, talk about our cases. You know, airways anatomy isn't everything, so we look at all the other things that it could possibly be. Um, so yes, right now we have, it's 10% off our program. All of our live in-person courses, you get a special membership rate for those two, and we have special promos for members. But yes, this is the promo and it ends, I believe, September. I mean, that's Friday, Saturday.
Nice. I
Yes.
love it. Well, again, guys, thank you so much. We had about 20 doctors stay on for the whole thing, which is
Wow.
amazing
Thank
for
you guys.
a
It's
Tuesday
awesome.
night after a busy day. So we'll just stay on for a couple of minutes and see if there's any specific questions that come up regarding Airway, regarding Instagram, regarding how to market your Airway practice on Instagram. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for coming. And yes, Rashid, plan ahead. I have a question here. YZ says, is it true that you need to delete some followers that you think they might be scammers, account impersonators? Honestly, there are more bots, fake accounts than ever before. So if you are expecting anyone, like I literally block delete somebody from my account every single day. Like just people that comment like weird things that are like very promotional. Obviously, like don't block delete a patient or a real person or a parent. Like you don't need to do that. But somebody that's like promote this on, Chicago something, block delete. I just, you don't have to even consider it. Um, there are more scam like fake accounts and bots than ever before. Simi says, I make what I thought were the stupidest videos, but they get seen, and I know why. Yeah, people want to see you. Um, Melissa's asking your Friday presentation, do you have to become a member to watch and join?
My Friday presentation?
Yeah.
There's no Friday presentation. Yes. Um, yeah. Anything that everything that we do on ASAP is recorded and it's only for members. Mhm.
Now's a great time to become a member of ASAP though. So love it. Any other questions before we finish our event for the night? And please feel free, like you have my social media. I'm just gonna type it in the chat. You have Tracy's if you want to type in the chat. Go to the ASAP Pathway
Yeah.
Instagram. You'll see so much content on there that is really, really powerful to share to your page, to your stories. So follow those pages for more information. And again, like DM us if you have any questions. I send voice notes to people all the time from my lectures if they have questions. And I know Tracy, like she's on social and she will be there. So
Yeah.
do photos of patients smiling make sense anymore? I mean, I'll take a shot at that. And Tracy, you can answer as well. I would say as long as it's kind of obvious what they're looking for. Like if you have just like a very small rotation or something and it's like a big retracted and you can't see it, then I would say like most patients won't even know what they're looking at. But if you can show like a very tangible before and after with your Invisalign or with your like cosmetic cases, then I think patients still like to see what's possible. The thing really is that like they're gonna identify with the before photo, like that looks like me. Oh my gosh, that's possible. So it definitely can be. The better photos are the ones of the whole patient's face. If you can like cut out the eyes, at least like somebody can like identify the retracted photos. Sometimes patients think are gross. I've gotten that feedback a lot
Yeah.
where they're like, what am I looking at?
I find that, it really depends on like what do you want to get from it. So like if I think about, so let's say if I wanted to get like a facelift, right? I'm gonna follow a plastic surgeon that has like before and afters of like facelifts because like I want someone that's really qualified. I'm not gonna follow a plastic surgeon that has 10,000 like 100,000 followers with, so you want to mix up your content. So I do think it's really good to have very strong clinical stuff. I do think that the retracted photos, not too much of it, but it really depends on what you're trying to show and who you're trying to engage.
Mhm. Yeah, great question, Melissa. Anyone else?
But I think the
Amazing.
smile of the week is a nice like catch,
Mhm.
like what I was saying about like phrases. If you did like a smile of the week and you were consistent every week, then someone would constantly go on your page and be like, "What's the smile of the week?" And it just has to be consistent.
Mhm.
Very catchy.
100%. And like the thing is, people want to see social proof. Like they want to see that you know what you're doing what you're doing what you say you're doing. And so like think about social proof from the perspective of like in your practice, the work that you're doing, but also when you go to CE, like even if you were on this webinar tonight and you were to post like a story or a photo, like learning more about how to take care of my patients on an evening webinar. Because what does that tell your patient? Like, wow, this doctor's so committed to education. She's so committed to learning more about how to help us. Like, remember, social proof doesn't necessarily just need to be your clinical, it's like who you are as a practitioner as well. Posting anything that you're doing for education is great.
Yeah, I mean, like share your journey. I mean, they want to know.
Mm-hmm. Bye, Rashid. We'll see you tomorrow. Awesome. Well, guys, you've been an amazing, amazing group tonight. We're so grateful for you. Thanks for coming on again. You know where to find us if you have any other questions. Now's the time to, again, like Tracy said, make money with your airway practice. That's don't apologize for it. It's exactly what you're meant to do. Help people, make a living as a doctor because you work very hard for it and get patients into your practice using social media. So thank you for joining us tonight. And
Thank you for having me, Allison.
oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye, guys.